What is up, YouTube? This is the first video of probably many in a series about me LS swapping and building this Colorado. I'll go into some detail here in terms of why I'm actually doing the swap. But for the most part, this series is going to document the swap. Hopefully it can help others with everything related to the swap. I think the swap has become popular. People like Tommy Effia and Rudnick from the Ricer Miata YouTube channel, they both did it. I know the company Current Performance that makes these wiring harnesses, they're crazy busy because people doing these swaps. So anyway, I think it'll be a good resource. Hopefully it can fill gaps that don't already exist for this type of swap. So the main things I'll cover here in the intro video, obviously the truck. I'll do a walk around. I'll tell you guys a little bit about it. I'll go through and I'll show you guys interior, exterior, kind of what it looks like. I'll go over the motor that I chose. And then I'll also go over a lot of the parts that I picked up. So the base for this swap is 2011 Colorado, 5-speed. Keeping the manual transmission, I'll be putting a 6-liter Gen 4 LS in it and using Current Performance wiring harness and a FabBot adapter kit, clutch, etc. to mate the LS to the 5-speed AR5 that comes in the Colorado. So pretty standard setup. In addition to the motor swap, I'll go over in this series, I'll go over the wheel and tire setup that I chose. I'll also go over the Beltec suspension setup that I chose. Also be doing some body stuff in terms of the over fenders. So pretty comprehensive little build on this truck. I'll also cover why I'm actually doing this build. You'll see this in the background. This is my E46 M3. At some point in the future, I have a ton of parts saved up for this, but I'll also go over the plans for this and kind of further mods to make this a little bit more of a track beast. But yeah, so let's go through. I'll give you guys a walk around to the Colorado. This video is meant to show the build, show the parts, give you guys an intro, and then we'll get into the rest. Here's a quick walk around of the truck. So starting on the passenger side, pretty clean. This was a Tennessee truck, so very limited rust. It's a little bit dirty, but just very minor surface rust on the frame. This side of the bed looked pretty good. In general, this side's actually pretty good. Paint needs a little bit of attention, but still has a clear coat. Moving forward, really no major issues. I have the hood popped with the battery charging right now. Grill, it was missing the emblem when I bought it. Some scuffs here, nothing that I really care too much about. This fender had a little ding in it, but don't care because the over fender will cover it. This side, couple little paint imperfections, not sure what's going on down there, but nothing major. Thing I was probably the most disappointed about, let me see if I can, there. Thing I was probably most disappointed about was this, which I actually completely missed until I paid for it. I think because it's a white car, it's a little bit difficult to see. But you can see just, I don't know how they did this, because the door frame is fine and the door itself is actually pretty good. It just seems to be a dent right on this piece of the, I guess that's what, the B-pillar. I don't know if you call that a B-pillar on a truck. Again, I'm not really a truck guy. So my plan here is I might take the interior panels off, see if I can get to that and try to pop it out. Maybe I'll see how much a professional would charge to fix it. Not positive. Worst case, again, this is kind of a beater. I'll do some filler, just body fill it and paint it. So not too worried. Also a couple little dings on the roof. Again, not really sure from what. I guess maybe from stuff in the bed, like resting on it. Don't think I will do anything about that. Don't really care enough to fix that. This side of the bed is not the best. The other side is definitely better. The one thing I had noticed was, yeah, so you can see a dent in here, just kind of a shallow dent. Again, I don't know that I'll do anything about it. Don't know how much I care. You can kind of see it in the light here, which is pretty awesome, but you can still see the letters of the pest control company. I don't know if you can follow my finger here across. I forget, it says all types of pest control. Yeah, it says all types of pest control. You guys can probably not see that, but you can at least see the reflection. So I think that's pretty cool patina that, you know, I still got the pest control stuff on the truck. My garage door is closed here. Back of it looks pretty good, aside from the bumper here, which is kind of bent in. So I may just DIY pull that out or see if I can find a cheap bumper at a junkyard. But for the most part, the truck is clean. As I said, frame is clean. It's a Tennessee truck. That's where I am right now, is in Tennessee. So that was the main reason that I bought it. No rust in the frame, no accidents, nothing. Quick shot of the interior. Pretty basic, typical Colorado, black interior, in decent shape for what it is, roll up windows. This truck did come with tints that are extremely dark. No idea what percent they are, too dark for my preference. I do like the fact that the windows are tinted. I don't think I'm going to have AC in this thing right away, so that should help a little bit with temps in Tennessee in the summer. But yeah, it's a little bit difficult to drive at night, so that should be a challenge. Interior, again, for what it is actually pretty clean. I need to get some floor mats, but the carpet, you know, although dirty, not torn up. Seats, desirable color. I do like the black. Most of the time, this whole chunk of fabric here is kind of torn off of these things. You can see I have a little rip right there. But for the most part, the interior in this thing is actually in really good shape for 270,000 miles. So I kind of lucked out. Eventually, if I could find some cleaner seats, especially a driver's seat, probably do it. But for now, you know, overall, pretty happy with it. There's really not many complaints. Not really any strange smells. It did come with a Kenwood stereo that's got Bluetooth and everything. So from that standpoint, I'm all set up. The only thing outside of the floor mats that I talked about I'll probably grab is the steering wheel. Steering wheel is gross. Has this top of the whole top of like the leather is basically peeling off. I looked around and it seems like most Colorados, I probably just not a great quality steering wheel from the factory, and these things, a lot of them are work trucks, so the sun probably fades this out. And then the leather cracks off and you get what you see here. So I did buy a leather wrap kit, which hopefully will make it look a little bit better. But outside of that, there's not much. I may see if I can swap out the shifter eventually, shift knob. But that's pretty much it. This thing's somewhat OEM, and I plan to pretty much keep it that way. I like the fact that it's going to be kind of a sleeper, and when you get in, it just looks like a Colorado, and then step on the gas and clearly not a factory four-cylinder Colorado. So there's the interior. All right, so this is the motor. This is an LY6 that came out of a 2009 GMC Savannah. So Chevy Express, GMC Savannah, pretty much the same thing, those big GM cargo vans. This one was actually a school bus. I'll show a photo here. Long story short, I picked this up from a salvage yard in Delaware. It was pretty rough. I actually found it first on eBay. As everyone knows, prices of everything is crazy. LSs are no different. LY6, from what I've read, is a pretty somewhat desirable iron block motor. And I found this on eBay. I think it was going for roughly like $1,600 or so on eBay. Thought about bidding on it, looked around a good amount. So the goal was to get an engine because I needed it in order to be able to tell what all I needed on the harness. So I needed to get the engine to be able to tell what type of connectors. Good example is like the throttle body. There's a certain number of pins in there that current performance needs to do your harness. So I sort of needed to get the motor in-house so I could figure out all of those items and then send that over to current to get my harness lead time started. So anyway, found this on eBay. Ended up going on Delaware Auto Salvage's website, and then calling them directly. And by calling them directly, I was able to get a better deal on it than what was through eBay. The lady on the phone actually offered me an amount. We ended up settling. I forget what we settled on, but I think shipped, all said and done, I got it around $1,500. I have a complete price breakdown that at some point I will go over, but for now, just kind of giving a quick story on how I actually sourced the motor. All right, so here's the other big piece of the swap. This is the current performance wiring harness. So this harness is meant for 2000, I think it's 2008 and up Colorados, with manual transmission. And it's got to be the newer version of LS. I think it's like the 58X reluctor wheel version of LS, which is part of the reason why I went with the LY6. One thing that I didn't really know, and after talking to Current, I figured out, is that you actually need a different ECU. This is an ECU, I think it's from like a CTSV or something, because it's one of the only, you know what, I'm actually not positive. I think it's a CTSV ECU, I could be wrong. Current said that this is the only option really to make it work with their harness, is to buy the ECU, so I had to buy that through Current as well. I think it was an extra $300 or so for the ECU. In total, it was about $1,500 for everything. So that was for the harness, the ECU, and a program on the ECU. And that is basically to the specs of my car. So you can see, if you look at the order sheet here, this has all the details, even the tire size, gear ratio, etc. So they asked for some pretty comprehensive information before you can order a harness, which is part of the reason why I kind of rushed to get a motor, because I knew the lead time on the harness was 2-3 months, and if I waited to get a motor, then basically it delayed the actual ordering of the harness. So this was sort of the long pole in the tent, if you will, but this came in a few weeks ago, so I pretty much have everything at this point. I've heard really good things about these harnesses. It looks really high quality, pretty much OEM. I went with the standard loom. You can also get a braided, which does look nicer, but again, this is kind of a budget build, so went with the standard harness. So on the topic of drivetrain, I talked about that I got the FabBot adapter for the stock 5-speed AR5 transmission to bolt basically directly onto the LS. So I just showed the unboxing. In this box we have the Cyber clutch. I opted for the 450 wheel horsepower version. Looks like it's a 6-puck, which I don't know if there's an option there. I don't really prefer the puck clutches because of the chatter, but we shall see. This is a Cyber clutch, which I've not heard of before. Looks like there's the bolts and the alignment tool in there. So yeah, I mean, I think this kit had pretty good reviews, so I assume it should be fine. I'll show you guys the flywheel in a minute. As promised, here's the flywheel. So I think this just uses a factory LS1 flywheel. Not much to look at. I'll show a video once I actually get this thing, get it installed. So in this box of goodies, looks like they included the 4L60 bell housing. You can go and source one of these yourself. I actually bought one, realized I bought the wrong part number on eBay, and then subsequently just decided to order it from FabBot. So the price really isn't that bad, and I think it's brand new. So the thing is mint, which is nice. That makes me happy that it's not dirty. What else? There is gear oil, so 3 quarts of the MT90 Redline gear oil. There is the slave cylinder in this box. as well as some bolts, probably bell housing bolts. And then it looks like the adapter and the various clutch lines. So the adapter itself, this is pretty nice. Yeah, definitely feels fairly high quality. Everything, I have to say, everything that FabBot sent was packaged really well. So props to them. Nothing damaged, nothing even remotely close to damage. Everything looks really good. Another thing I haven't talked about much in detail, but I have over fenders for this. For the OEM off-road over fenders, I forget what package. Again, I'm not a truck guy. I was able to get 3 of these from a junkyard near me. The truck was in some type of wreck, but these are very manageable. This is just going to be probably a little coat of like filler or glazing putty or something, or maybe even just like high build primer. Those are just scratches. There's one of them that's got a little dent, which I may just try to heat up and pop out. So I was able to get 3 of them from a junkyard, and then this last one I ordered from eBay. Compared it to the OEM, it looks fine. It should work fine. So called around to get these things painted, and the prices were insane. I called around to a bunch of places. A lot of them didn't even want to take the work. It could be part of COVID and just all the delays that are going on right now in the world. I don't know. And then the ones that I were able to get to give me like a rough estimate, some said they wanted to see them. And then, like Mako was probably the one that I was expecting, all right, if I want to go cheap, I'll go to Mako. They were going to charge $150 per over fender, so $600. I mean, I thought I'd be able to get all these things done for $200-300. Maybe that was me being naive. So long story short, I actually bought some paint equipment, bought a good old trusty Harbor Freight paint gun, inline filter. I already had a compressor. So the plan is going to be to try and paint these myself. They may turn out horrible, likely will probably turn out horrible. But hey, the truck is a beater. It's a good time to learn. Paint equipment didn't cost me much. Worst case scenario, I completely screw it up, and if it looks too bad to put them on, then I'll end up paying money to get them done. But anyway, just wanted to show those. Those will be in another episode. I'll try to show my process of prepping them and painting them. All right, well, that is it for this one. In the next video, I will be covering the suspension mods. And I believe shortly after that, I'll put a video out in terms of more detail on the motor, what I did to refresh it. And then probably the video after that, we'll start getting into the actual swap itself. So stay tuned if you guys want to see more. Thanks for watching.